So welcome to our Winter and Spring Athletics Award Ceremony. Those who don't know, my name is Mike Pinelli. I'm the current Director of Athletics here at Delaware County Christian School. Just want to welcome all of you and thank you all for being here tonight. Before we get started, just want to open us in a word of prayer and then we'll start our program. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, just thank you for this day, Lord. Just thank you for this opportunity to be here together in fellowship and just look to honor some of these young athletes, Lord. But we also want to make sure that in honoring and recognizing these young athletes, that we're giving you that glory and honor that you deserve, Lord. That you've given these young athletes the blessings to compete at such a high level, and our athletes have done so in a great way. With some accomplishments this year, Lord, we just ask that you be with us tonight, be with be with our seniors, Lord, as they look to take the next step in life, that you continue to guide them, give them clarity, and the next steps you have for them in the path that you are carving out for their life, that they continue to lean on you, follow you, Lord, and just continue to do all things for you, Lord, for the good, and lead DC and continue to lead on. We just pray all this in your son's name. Amen. So, good evening. Again, before we get started, I just want a few thank yous. Obviously, in athletics, it's pretty big to do. So first, I just want to thank my department. The department is extremely large. We have 3 of us that run about 27 teams here. So first is Tila Grimes. Just give Tila a round of applause. Tila Grimes was just a great blessing for me. Her first year with us, she's a rock star, day in and day out, goes above and beyond, and I would not be here without Tila. Next, we have Coach Robert Herrick, our strength and conditioning coach. Coach Robert was another a great find. The Lord led him here. He's done a fantastic job with our athletes and with our coaches, right? I think coaches' buy-in is tough for strength and conditioning, right? Performance training, that goes hand in hand with sport, and I think getting that buy-in is extremely important. And then our next one, some of you may have heard of Jimmy or not. He's been kind of our part-time trainer. Jimmy was just a great blessing to us. He came from the Philadelphia Flyers. Jimmy has a great testimony. I won't get into it, but he's been with us all year, and he might be with us next year. So those who don't know Jimmy or haven't been, Jimmy's been, again, a great support system to our athletic staff in the training realm. Next, I just want to thank our boosters members, specifically Brian Tuttle, Kalia Orange, and Holly Roberts, and then a little round of applause there. Yeah. Events such as this one, any basketball game, any baseball game, softball game, lacrosse game, soccer, they're behind the scenes working, making sure it's a good experience for all of us. And they've done a fantastic job. Brian will be leaving us, so anyone interested in serving in that capacity, please let Tila know. This is a great opportunity for you to be part of athletics, but part of your children's, part of DC. And I think there's, again, opportunity there to serve. Next is all of our parents and the parent volunteers. You could call yourselves the team parents, but I would call you our parent volunteers. You guys have also been just rock stars, right? Giving these student athletes great experiences. Whatever we need, great communication. So I applaud you and all the support that you've given athletics. Next is our faculty, staff, and fellow administration. Students, give them a round of applause. Right, so hence the name student athlete, right? Students, you have to make sure that you are getting it done in the classroom, and the support from our staff, our teachers and administration, parents. Our staff does a phenomenal job. Our principal, high school principal, Marcus Dixon, fantastic to communicate with. Shelly Marshall, fantastic addition to the school. and building those relationships that's key for our student athletes specifically, and our teachers. Our teachers love our students, care about our students, but also want our students to do well outside the classroom. Come to many events, support us, ask athletics what they can do to help out around. So can't thank them enough. Big one here, all students better acknowledge is we want to thank our parents. Big round of applause for our parents. Students, if you haven't yet, you better thank your parent every morning you wake up for the sacrifice, the commitment and the love they have for you and have for Delaware County Christian School. Right, a lot of us, we take it for granted that we're here at a fantastic school with fantastic coaches, teachers, and a community. Your parents know it's a great community, they want you here, and they make sure that you're here and you're surrounded by good people. So parents, I thank you again. Without you, I'm not here. So I appreciate you all making the sacrifice to be at Delaware County Christian School. And then lastly, sort of, it's twofold. I'll thank our coaches' spouses first, because our coaches' spouses are behind the scenes. Our coaches' spouses take the brunt of it, right? The coaches working long hours. Some of our coaches are teachers, so even longer, and their spouses are home with kids, the daily chores. Students who might know that yet, but there's a lot to do as they become an adult, and there's a lot of support there. Any relationship, myself included, right? My spouse, my wife, needs support what I'm doing. So spouses, I really do appreciate the time and commitment you pour into Delaware County Christian School athletics. And then lastly is our phenomenal coaching staff. Round of applause for the coaching staff. We have just a great staff. I can't say enough about our coaches. They go above and beyond. Parents, you already know, the communication, the execution, the care, the love. It's more than just sport, right? They want your student athlete to be a good person, a man or woman of Christ, to grow in their faith, right? That's what it's about. The championships, the wins, the tough losses, right? That's all part of the roadmap that God has planned out for us, but it's the end goal, and our coaches do care about that, and they value that. So without further ado, we're going to get started with some of our seniors signing. Some of our seniors this year have taken the next step to play college athletics. So our first senior and his parents, please come up, will be Titus Myers. As Titus and his parents walk up to the stage, I also want to welcome Coach Lloyd Hill to the stage. He's going to say a few words about Titus.
So to give a brief history on Titus, as a freshman, he was learning the ropes, first time playing football. And then the next year we had the COVID year. We still participate in football. We, practice against each other. But at one moment, we was going against Jordan Mitchell. Jordan Mitchell, he of course was the league MVP. And Titus at that time was playing DB, and just the way he turned his hips and has the feet placement and everything, I knew at that moment, okay, he's going to be good. And sure enough, yes. He turned out to be one heck of a football player, racking up many points and yards and making some unbelievable catches throughout the season. Titus, you are going to a new season, new journey. Be strong. Titus, control what you can control. Things not always going to go your way, but control what you control. Okay? Sometimes you may not like the coaches, you may not like the way they do things, but be a positive person. Head up, be strong in everything what you do. Most importantly, Titus, keep your eyes on the Lord always. You're going off onto a new season, a new journey, lots of traps, lots of temptation. Keep your eyes on the Lord. Congratulations, love you, man. If you need anything, don't hesitate to contact me. If you need anything, don't hesitate. You know where I'm at. Get in contact with me. Congratulations.
At this time, Titus, you can sign your letter of intent and make it official. And take some, Mrs. Corson is going to grab a picture there. Make sure you dot your I's, cross your T's there. You can pretend to sign too, Titus. Under your name. Another round of applause for Titus. Our next senior athlete we're going to recognize today for going on to the next level is going to be Mr. Nick Vavala. Parents, come on up. So speaking for Mr. Nick Vavala today will be Mr. Coach John Levis. And a round of applause for Mr. John Levis.
I connected with Nick in his soccer career when he was playing Liverpool soccer as part of the DC elementary school. And since then, it's been fun to watch him grow. But when he stepped with the team as a freshman, I would say it was a time between then and his senior year of monumental growth. Obviously, physically, he developed and had, Nick's laughing over there because he knows what I'm referring to. I won't tell the story, Nick. But watching Nick grow physically and his ability and what he was able to accomplish on the field, and to be one of a small percentage of student athletes that get to go and play at the college level, has been extremely enjoyable to watch. But more importantly has been Nick's growth as a person. And I would just highlight 3 things that I think has really set him apart and set him up well for what's coming next. The first one is he's a quiet competitor. And what I mean by that is he wants to win, he wants to compete, he wants to go after the prize, but the way he does it makes his teammates want to follow. He does it in a way that the teammates want to get on board and see what kind of makes Nick go, what motivates him to do what he does, and that's turned him into a great leader in our program. The second thing I would say that I've learned about Nick is he's a friend to all. When you watch Nick interact with his teammates, you wouldn't know if it was a freshman or a senior. If someone needed a ride or someone needed to pick me up or whatever they needed, Nick was willing to show up. He led by example. He truly cared for his teammates. But most importantly, he has a heart for God. And I've had the joy over the last couple years of having a Sunday night Bible study with a lot of the guys from the team and watching Nick ask questions and be inquisitive and think seriously about his faith, but more importantly than thinking about his faith is being passionate about his relationship with Jesus. And so Nick, what I would say to you as you go off to Gordon, continue to be the individual who has a heart for God. It's been really impressive and a privilege for me to spend these last 4 years getting to be with you out on the field. And I'm excited to drive up to Gordon and watch some of those games next year. So great job, Nick.
have Nick sign away, and Terry's going to grab a picture for you. Let's give another round of applause. So up next is our end of the year athletic awards. Our first one is going to be our George Husman Award. Those who don't know what the George Husman Award is for, this is an award for leadership and sportsmanship. This award is initiated by the Chester County Associated Officials in 1983 in honor of George Husman, DC's first athletic director. Some of the criteria include just strong leadership, achieving goals set by the coach, an everyday excellence mindset, and always looking to honor and glorify the Lord in all they do. So this award this year is going out to two athletes, a male and a female athlete. Our first award winner is going to be senior Andrew Coe. Our next award winner is none other than our awesome athletics prefect, Ms. Sky Porchman. Awesome. Congratulations, guys.
Good evening. The next award is the Ann Berkey Award, and it is given to a student athlete who has excelled in multiple areas, including receiving league MVP and some other major prestigious awards. The Ann Berkey Award is, Ann Berkey was DC's first PE instructor and girls athletic coach, and this award is in memory of Carl Bowen, class of '73. Some of the other areas that the student athlete recipient has excelled in is just earning 6 varsity letters and has demonstrated a positive Christian character. We have one recipient, a female student athlete, and this year's winner is Avezi Amuya. Our winter teams and our head coaches will lead in that area. So first we'll recognize boys basketball. So boys basketball team can come on up with Coach Parks and his staff.
As everybody comes up. So it's my pleasure to talk about this group of young men. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about the varsity team members first, and then we'll talk about our JV team members. But the way that they're configured right now is kind of the way we went to our season. We viewed ourselves as one team. We viewed ourselves as one body, many members, right? So that's, we practice together. We may have played games separately, but we're seen as one team. But we're going to recognize the two teams separately. So it's my great pleasure to talk about this group of young men and their accomplishments this past season. And I'm really, really proud of what they were able to accomplish together. You know, listening to those outside of the school, outside of the program, these guys weren't expected to do too much, right? The word was that you guys were too young, too inexperienced. And the funny story here is I got a call from a guy from the Delco Times. And he asked me, Coach Kenny, for information about our team. And you know, we excitedly gave them information about a great young group of guys and what our expectations were for the season. And then when we had an opportunity to see the article said it could be a rebuilding season for Delco Christian after losing 6 seniors to graduation, period. That was bulletin board material for us all year long. And you know, to kind of get into it, we spent much of last summer and the fall getting our teeth kicked in, right, in our bigger schools. We're kind of struggling and fighting through it. And those teams are filled with juniors and seniors, but that process yielded valuable experience for our guys. And after a season of ups and downs, we made it back to the district finals, okay? And we made it back to states, and that made it 3 straight years that we were in district finals. So for our veterans like Josiah Gaines, you had a chance to play in all 3 of those. We've got guys that have played them too. DC basketball has a great history here, a legacy of success, and carrying on that tradition and legacy is real important to these guys. We spent hours looking at those banners in the gym and just talking about how we wanted to kind of make our legacy. You guys still have time to do that, which is awesome. I'm just really, really, really proud of what these guys are able to accomplish. So let's talk a little bit about the journey. Gentlemen, the biggest thing I want to tell you is whenever you're done, and you know it's 10 years from now, what you'll remember are the moments together. So now when I sit back and I reflect on our moments from our last season, let's see if you remember some of these. Brad. And his unique greeting whenever he says his buddy Garrett, right? Right? Some of this is going to be inside stuff that the guys get it. Well, how about your unique way of describing your interaction with that opponent after the game at Mass? Right? AJ just being AJ. I don't know how to describe it. Not just AJ just being AJ. For those who know AJ, they certainly understand. Griffin, and you're just boundless energy, just bouncing around like you had Skittles. Right? Blake, you know, joining this team as a senior and just always being kind of that steady, right? Calm down, guys. Come on, let's keep it moving. But Blake has steady leadership. Gio, how about your dunk at TCA and my little viral jump, whatever you want to dunk, right? With a 30-point first quarter at Faith Christian, but we couldn't miss a shot. How about the triple overtime game here against Mass, where we tied the game twice to go into double overtime and almost hit the game winner, Brad, the 3rd time. We missed at the buzzer. Our home BAL tournament against Bristol, where we were ahead. We had to fight off their ferocious comeback as they were fighting for a coach that was leaving, and we were able to win that game in the 4th quarter. The big one for me is that improbable last-second win at Church Farm and the celebration in the locker room afterwards. Remember that? And our gritty, grimy battles against Doc and Constitution in the district finals and first-round states. These are the memories that are going to sit with you guys, the memories that I think about, and we'll keep building on memories together. So the accolades, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about each of our varsity guys, the guys that play varsity, and then we turn it over to JV. Coach Humble and Coach Orange will talk about the JV guys. So Ian Prusner. Ian is a gritty, hard worker. He worked really, really hard on JV, and he earned the spot to sit on the varsity bench. It's phenomenal to watch you work, and I can't wait to see you continue to grow. Talk about Griffin and that boundless energy and the positive attitude. This dude is a beloved teammate. I've never seen a guy that's been as good a teammate as Griffin is. And I mentioned Blake and just his steadiness and his calmness and his leadership. AJ's a hard worker. He's a magnet. Everybody wants to be around him. AJ, you're influential, you're charismatic, and you'll be able to use that in a positive manner once you realize that that's the gift that God has given you. Andy Abobi, he oozes offensive talent. Never met a shot he didn't like. Confident, loves to shoot, and the thing is, when we beat Church Farm, Addy didn't play a lot of minutes, but Addy's one of the reasons why we won. Why? What's your nickname, Addy? Cooper Showers. He played as the guy that we were playing against, and played the guy better than he played himself whenever we beat those guys, which was fantastic. Brad Berwick is one of the most, I use the term, confident freshmen that I've seen in our program. Brad stepped in knowing that he had what it took to play varsity basketball, despite what anybody told him. And the thing was, he was willing to do the work to get there. So great job, Brad. Luke, you're one of the hardest workers I know, man. You're always looking to improve. You're always self-reflective, and the best is still yet to come for you. It's not over. It's not over. Bruce, tough, competitive, fought through injuries all year. People don't know what you had to go through to just get on the court. He actually held down our point guard position while Kamal was out earlier in the season, and you had that phenomenal fourth quarter against Constitution, so we got a foundation to work off of there. All right, now these guys, last group of guys, they're gonna receive awards, so I'm gonna describe them first and I'll say their names afterwards. So this gentleman is the most physically gifted player we have on our team. Our wins can be directly correlated to his effectiveness and ability to stay on the floor. Here are some points from him. He improved his scoring average by 7 points from 2.6 to 9.6 points per game last season. He shot a team best 53.3% from the floor. And he was recognized as honorable mention by the Delco Times. He was recognized by honorable mention by the BAL. Let's hear a round of applause for Josiah Gaines. What he's receiving is most improved. We had two gentlemen that got most improved. Now, for our top four guys, the interesting thing was they played so well as a team, we could have mixed and matched these awards all over the place. But I'm going to describe this next gentleman. He's pleasant, he's coachable, he's a good teammate, he's a hard worker, he's focused, he's confident, and most importantly, he's one of the most consistent three-point shooting forwards that we've had here at DC basketball. Let's talk about it. He increased his contributions this past season from a spot sub as a freshman year to becoming our second leading scorer with 11.9 point per game average. Shot 38% from three and made an amazing 83 three-pointers this past season, making him first in Delaware County, third amongst PIAA two-way schools, and 8th overall statewide. He was recognized by the BAL coaches for the all-conference second-team All-BAL and was recognized as honorable mention by the Delco Times for their all-Delco team. Round of applause for Caleb Jameson. This next young man is the heartbeat of our team. He's willing to do whatever it takes to win, whatever it takes. He worked hard to improve his game every day. He grew in his maturity and leadership throughout the season, but sacrificed his body regularly. You see it, a little bit chinks in the armor this last season. He contributed for us in all of our key categories and was one of our top defenders. The byline is he led our team in scoring with a 13.2 point per game average. He led our team in rebounding with a 7.7 rebound per game average, and led our team in assists with 3.5 assists per game. He also had 6 double-doubles this year, which is unheard of for a point guard. He was recognized by the BAL coaches for all-conference first team. And he was also recognized, honorable mention, by the Delco Times for their all-Delco team. Here, a round of applause for Mr. Kamai Orange. It's the Top Performer Award. Now, this last award is the most prestigious award coming out of DC Athletics because it also talks about character as well as a player on the floor. And this young man is literally the glue that connects all of our parts on and off the floor. He's a great teammate. He's coachable. He maintains great relationships with everybody on our squad. Smart. He has a high basketball IQ, high character, works hard every day. Which is why he will receive this Everyday Excellence Award. He also increased his scoring average from the previous year by 9 points per game, averaging 11.7 this year. He shot 33% from the three-point arc and made an amazing 68 three-pointers this past season, making him 5th in Delaware County. He was also recognized by BAL Coach's All-Conference second team and was recognized as honorable mention by the Delco Times for their All-Delco team. Round of applause for Mr. Bolak. Before I turn this over to Coach Orange and Coach Hummel, I want to thank both of you guys. You guys go through the grind with me. Here I go. And the late nights, the hard work with these guys, the film study, the scouting. Nobody knows, but any other coaches here understand what that is. And I just appreciate the sacrifices that you make with your families, sacrifice you make with your spouses. And thank you for walking this path with me. And I'm just looking forward to continue to do it. Thank you very much. And my last thank you is to the parents. Same thing. All of the sacrifices that you made this past spring and summer, getting your kids to and from events, being at the games, supporting our team without question. It is vastly appreciated, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for what you've done. Let's give them a round of applause.
All right, good evening, everybody. Matt Hummel, JV head coach. We'll try to keep this a little bit more concise for the JV guys, but our season was one of ups and downs. We had a team that was about 90% freshmen. So we were really, really young. And we certainly grew throughout the season, which I'm super proud of these guys for, but along with growth comes pain as well. So I'm going to relate this to a video game I used to play when I was younger. I'm going to be dating myself a little bit, but Ken Griffey Jr. Baseball, N64, if anyone played that. It was a great game. I used to play with my friends all the time. It was a lot of fun. And inevitably, once out of every couple games, we would have what I call the Griffey inning of pain. And what happened was, we'd have a normally consistent player, maybe it's Ken Griffey Jr. himself, arguably the best player in the game, and somebody would hit a pop-up to the outfield. He'd be camped under it for about 5 seconds, because the graphics weren't good enough to do it in real time at that point. And so he'd be camped out under there, and then just randomly you hear this, and he would drop the ball. I mean, it's like routine, pop-up, should be an out, it's done. And then what seemed to flow from that was like 2 or 3 or 4 or 7 runs, and all of a sudden you lost the game. Well, in basketball, I call that the Griffey quarter of pain. And unfortunately, we were very consistently painful in the second quarter. That was our growth, and that was our inning of pain. However, one thing that I want to commend these guys for is the fact that after we get back to the locker room in halftime, we kind of assess what went on. These guys not once all season quit. And almost every single time we had some of our best quarters in the third quarter coming back out. We made it competitive, which then lent us to this next statistic that I'll give you. 9 of our games, so almost half of our games this season, were decided by 2 possessions or less. So 6 points or less. And I wish we didn't dig ourselves the hole in the first place. But again, we're a young team, and because we're going to be able to grow together, I'm looking forward to working with each and every one of you next year so that we don't have that quarter of pain, and we can put a lot of those 50-50s into the win category instead. So super proud of these guys. They got a lot of late game experience. We had 3 overtime games, which is like insane for JV. So these guys got a lot of late game, a lot of tense situation experience. They didn't always go the way that we wanted them to, but that's invaluable experience as you get older in your basketball careers. I don't have the time to go over each and every single one of you. I would love to do that at a different time, but just know from the bottom of my heart that I really appreciated your attitudes, your work ethics this year. There's not one person I would replace in this team because you all worked super hard, you were coachable, and I'm just excited to keep working with you this summer, the fall and then get back after it next year.
They don't make it easy to follow up behind them, do they? My name is Coach Kenny or Coach Orange. I have the unique privilege of being assistants on both the JV teams and varsity teams. I'm in charge of stats and player development officially. Unofficially, I'm the one that assigns your player random drills and probably their nicknames. So if you come to campus and hear your child call something other than the name you gave them, like Flex or IP or Archer or Balake or anything like that, I'm sorry, that was me. But it's part of the culture of the team, and that's kind of what I was charged with this year, because you can take talent and put talent anywhere, and it's not going to be a team. I can take 20 talented individuals, or 10 talented individuals, or 5 talented people, and put them together and give them a task, and they can lose to a good team. So the goal this year was to take these gentlemen that you see before you and make them into a team. Through our cultural, practices and things of that nature. And some of that involves having courageous conversations over Chick-fil-A fries, or sometimes your player may text me in the middle of the day and say, I need help with this, help me now. That was my role, and I relish and accept that role, because as I sit here and look at our top 4 players on the varsity team as they were recognized by the BAL this year, I realized that all of them were JV players, swing players last year. So that goes to the work of the program and the work of these young men. So please give it up for these young men. The last thing I just want to say before handing it back over to Coach Hummel, when you think about culture and you think about who we are as DC, we're knights. And knights are often warriors and protectors, but the knights always, if you go through your history, they always met at the round table. And I, for the life of me, for a while, I couldn't figure out why it mattered that the table was round. I'm sure that throughout history there were several shapes in the world, but why was the round one so important? But when you think about a circle, there's no beginning or end to it. A circle is a continuum, right? And that's what the culture of DC Knights athletics, and particularly DC Knights basketball is. Whenever these young men graduate, as Blake will leave us this year, and we've had seniors graduate, we'll have seniors graduate next year. They will always be connected, and there will always be a continuum of culture between these young men. So with that, before I turn it to Coach Parks up here, I'm going to pass you back to Coach Hummel.
All right, so we do have some awards for JV as well. But first, parents, thank you so much for your support this season. As Coach Parks already noted, basketball season is uniquely long and it's uniquely late. We get home late a lot of the time. That puts a lot of stress on these guys to get their homework done consistently. So thank you for your willingness to work with us and work with them. And thank you for your support throughout the season. We really, really appreciate it. All right, so we have 3 awards. As is usual, there are a lot of people that could have gotten these. So if you didn't get one, it's not that you didn't deserve it. We just only have 3. And like I said, I'm really proud of all of you. This first person is going to be our most improved player. The best way to describe him, I think, would be a bull in a china shop. And he is the only person in my memory of coaching basketball for about 10 years that I've ever asked to get protective equipment for him. Like I actually asked him to acquire a sleeve to protect his elbow, because it seemed like every single game he would land on that thing and it would balloon up and he'd be like, I can't shoot. It's like, well, that's not going to work for basketball. So by the end of the season, he turned from a bull in a china shop to arguably the pulse of our JV team. And if I could clone him and have 5 more, I would. We would be the best defensive team in the league for sure. But I'm excited to see you continue to grow. So IP, he improves there. Next is our top performer. This was a really tough one as well, but we decided to give it to this particular freshman. When I think of him, Coach Parks already aptly described him in different ways, so I'll try to use something different. He is confident, but he's also, it seemed to be unflappable. You know, no stage seemed to be too big for him, and a lot of times he was the glue that held our scoring together in those second quarters that I've already mentioned were pretty painful. We only got him for part of the season, and then towards the end for part of games. but he definitely gave our team a confidence boost. And one of my favorite memories was the block party that he was hosting. I don't remember who it is against, but there was like one game where he literally swatted like 7 shots in the span of like 5 minutes. It was incredible. So, Bradford Berwick, you deserve this. All right, and everyday excellence. This one, also we had a couple people, but I think this person stood above the rest. This is someone who was new to basketball this year. He was also one of our elder statesmen as a junior, but when thinking of a teammate that I would want others to emulate, he comes to mind. He was always positive energy. Whenever he was getting on the floor, this didn't actually happen, but in my mind, I just imagined him doing like the haka from like playing rugby or something, like slapping his thighs or whatever, and like just psyching himself up and then also psyching out the competition. And he would just go. I mean, like, you could literally just be like, hey, go guard that guy, and he would everywhere. And it was absolutely amazing. We worked on the shot. We're still working on the shot. I'm excited to continue working on the shot all summer, okay? But again, this guy is just heart and soul, and yeah, I wasn't sure how it was gonna go at the beginning of the season, but now I can't think of a season without you, so Griff, great job.
Next up is girls basketball, led by Coach Poyser.
Where's my team? So good evening, everyone. I'm Coach Stephen Poyser. I have Coach Ann Gano and Coach Stephen Pulliam with me here as well, my assistant coaches. So just to give a recap of our season, our captains, Sydney Stevens, Ashanti Harris, and Sarah Stahl, I asked them to come up with a theme verse that we would refer to throughout the season. So they came up with 2. I'll read to you our verses and then how they define the meanings of them specifically to our team. First was 1 Corinthians 15, verse 58, which says, "Therefore, my dear brothers and sisters, stand firm, let nothing move you. Always give yourselves fully to the work of the Lord, because you know that your labor in the Lord is not in vain." Second verse was Romans 15, verse 5, which says, "May the God who gives endurance and encouragement give you the same attitude of mind toward each other that Christ Jesus had." They define it by saying, I think that 1 Corinthians 15:58 is something that we all try to remind ourselves before each game, and we pray about playing for the glory of God during every pregame prayer. Also, I think that Romans 15:5 is a good reminder to us that we represent Christ as a Christian school and how we act and play, and that we should strive to be more like Jesus and have good sportsmanship. So to take it on the court, our record this year, overall, we were 14-9 with a 9-2 record in our league, finishing only behind senior-laden teams Faith Christian and TCA, who both went pretty far in the state tournament. So I tell the girls there's no shame in finishing behind those 2 teams. They were full of seniors. We had a relatively young team with only 2 seniors. So finishing with a 9-2 record in the league is pretty impressive. Also a 9-1 record at home. So thanks to all the fans that packed out our home games this year. That's a joke. Our games were empty. No, I'm not empty all the time. We had a few. We had some fans, but I appreciate those that were there, the raucous student section, and the parents that came out each game. So our team again is comprised of 2 seniors, Sarah and Avezi, who you can clap for them. So they both coincided with my first year coaching, and they'll be sorely missed moving on, but I'm proud of both of them, the accomplishments, even in their other sports that I've been keeping up with them on Instagram, and really proud of everything that they're doing. We have 4 juniors, Melina, Maxu, Maggie Jenkins, Sydney Stevens, and Ashanti Harris. So the 4 of them, I had them as middle schoolers as well. I was their middle school coach before they came up to high school. So I left them for a year, and I knew we struggled that first year with Sarah and Avazy that year, but I knew once we got those 4 up here, we were going to be a good team, and I was proven right. It didn't take us long to really turn the program around once they got up here. 2 sophomores, we had Addie Smith, and Hallie Keys. Hallie also coached her as a 6th grader, and I've been on her kind of to come back out and play basketball. She finally did this year. She was such a great help to our team when she was there. She gave us a real boost in practices, made practices a lot more competitive. Games helped out, hit timely 3-pointers, timely block shots, buckets, so we're really glad to have her. Adelaide Smith, she's I feel like such a talented player, and I feel like could be a college basketball player if she really wanted to, but I hear she's pretty good at lacrosse as well. But just when I saw her last year, she was new to DC, like the first 2 minutes of tryouts, I'm like, oh, we really got something here. She's really talented player. And then we had 1 freshman this year, Lily Peters. Lily was just really quick to soak up everything, ask a lot of questions, and really showed improvement throughout the season. So I'm excited to see how she continues to develop as she goes throughout high school. So some of our season highlights, we had a season-high 6-game win streak, which included a 20-point win over Mass Charter, who came into the game with, I believe, a 10-2 record. In that game, Ashanti Harris had a career-high 35 points. And Sydney, who we really called on a lot this year to guard the other team's best perimeter player. They had a girl averaging 23 points, who I think she just got a scholarship somewhere I saw the other day, but she was averaging 23. Sid held her to 11 points. And even some of the buckets that she got late in those games, they didn't really matter. Sid really did a great job holding her in that game. Also advancing to the 2nd round of the BAL tournament with a 62-17 home win over Doc Mennonite. That was another highlight that I look back on fondly. And I'm really happy with how we progressed through that tournament. We ran into Faith Christian the next round, who went really far in the states. I think maybe like to the semifinals of the state tournament. So unfortunately, we ran into I'm lying. We lost to TCA next. That's who we lost to, who went really far as well, and they had the state player of the year on their team. But yeah, that was a tough one. Let me not rehash that. I'm having bad memories thinking back to those. Also, a trip to Villanova. We Hallie's parents, the Keys, arranged for us to go watch a Villanova women's game. So that's another highlight. I think everyone on the team came out. We really enjoyed ourselves there. Had a good time. Also, I'll thank my assistant coaches as well. We've been doing this now for the last 4 years together. The amount of text messages we send, the talks after practice, talks about each player. I really appreciate them as well, spending time away from their spouses, putting in the long hours with me. We need another trip to Mercado. We went to Mercado, my favorite restaurant, a couple years ago with our spouses. It was really fun, so we need to arrange another trip there. Also, parents, we thank you for your support throughout the seasons. Thanks for providing snacks pregame, for meals after the game, for opening up your homes for the team to spend time together. Really appreciative to you for all your support. Also, thanks to the staff who helped us by coming out to practice with us prior to the start of our playoffs. Coach Grimes came out, Mrs. Peters, Mrs. Avenick, and Mrs. Elkin came out and kind of played pickup with the girls, helped us to prepare for our playoff run. And then I'll get to, we had five players who were recognized by the league as all league members. Sydney Stevens, Adelaide Smith, and Melina Maxu were all honorable mention. And Ashanti Harris and Sarah Stahl were both first team all BAL. You can get these. Coach Gano will hand those out to you. And as far as our team awards, so our most improved player, she went from kind of reluctantly playing last year as a freshman, didn't want to play varsity, kind of had to force her, but like I told you before, she had a lot of talent that was very evident from early on. So she went from playing sparingly last year to this year becoming really our most versatile player, leading us in steals, was second in rebounds, third in assists, and really in the top 3 for nearly every statistical category. So our most improved player this year is Addie Smith. Everyday excellence. This young lady is just an extremely hard worker, probably the hardest worker I've, all my years playing basketball, coaching basketball, ever been around. She didn't want to lose any drills, extremely competitive, really just a coach's dream. She was a 3-year captain, voted a captain every year from her sophomore year on, exemplified Christian character. She was named All-League all 4 years. I think she was honorable mention her freshman year, sophomore and junior year, second time, and broke through and was named first team this year. So everyday excellence, Sarah Stahl. And our top performer, she was the only non-senior named first team All-League. She led us in points, in rebounds, in blocks. I told her as a 7th grader, you're gonna be an All-League player. She's been first team All-League every year she's been in high school. She's just finishing up her junior year. I think she has a really good chance of being named league MVP next year. She's about 200 points away from reaching 1,000 for her career. So I think she'll get that. She'll get that pretty early. She might get it before 2024 this year. You may get it by Christmas. Ashanti Harris. So yeah, that's our season. Thank you.
Up next, we have our varsity cheerleading squad coached by Tara Eisenhower, Angela Payson, and Catherine Howard.
All right, if you were part of this year's varsity cheerleading squad, please come on up to the stage. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Coach Tara Eisenhart. I'm the head varsity cheerleading coach here at DC. Joining me up here is my assistant coaches, Catherine Power and Angela Payson. Catherine, Angela, and I are all alumni here at DC and former DC cheerleaders. We've been rebuilding the cheerleading program since 2019, and it has been an absolute joy to see it grow. The 2022-2023 varsity cheerleading season was a really exciting one for all of us. It was the first year in 4 years that we had varsity cheerleaders back in the gym cheering on our basketball team. God has sure shown us that He can make all things possible before our season even started. We knew we needed at least 5 girls to form a squad and compete at competition, and right up to the day before practices were supposed to start, we only had 4 girls committed. I started praying that God would perform a miracle, and He sure did. The day of our first practice, we found out we had 1 girl sign up who had never cheered before, and that completed our required 5. I started the first practice by telling the girls how amazed I was that God provided, and I knew that this season was going to be a special one. For those of you not familiar with cheerleading, most squads in our area have a minimum of 10 to 20 girls, so having a squad as small as ours was pretty unheard of. Although we had our challenges, these girls defeated the odds. We competed in 2 competitions this year and took first place at the Archbishop Carroll Cheer Challenge. I have to give the credit to the girls. Although Coach Catherine and I guided them, they really used their own creativity to create routines that were so unique. We received comments from the judges and other squads from different schools that stated how impressed they were, especially with how small we are. I want to thank all of our cheer parents for your dedication and commitment. Without you, we would not have been able to pull off this season. I also want to thank each and every girl standing up here for their hard work. You have all made the season one to remember, and we are honored to have been a part of it. We are so proud of you girls for the dedication and passion you have put into the sport. Okay, we're going to do awards now. First is the Most Improved Award. The Most Improved Award is presented to the athlete who has shown the most improvement in cheerleading this season. This award recognizes an individual who has worked hard to develop their skills, not just on the sidelines, but as a teammate and especially an encourager. No matter where we put her, she was up for the challenge. All it took was one time for us to direct and correct, and she mastered the skill. In the sport of cheerleading, it is very unique to have someone who can fly in the air, but also under the stunt. But for her, this was no challenge. She did it all. Not only is she very strong, but she is also an excellent dancer. Looking back on this season, there is one thing that still amazes Coach Catherine and I, and that is how someone brand new to cheerleading can master her jumps as though she has been doing this her whole life. But it's not just her technical skills that have improved, we also got to see her grow as a person. In the beginning of the season, we got to know her quiet and humble personality, and although she is still one of the most humble athletes I have ever coached, we really got to see her open up and see her bright personality shine through. Her enthusiasm and positive attitude really encouraged the rest of the squad. We are so excited to see her continue to develop in her skills next season. It is my honor to announce that the Most Improved Cheerleader Award goes to Anna Bryan Marquardt. The Everyday Excellence Award is presented to the athlete who exemplifies the traits we are looking for and represents the DC program well. To be considered for this award, we look at an athlete's consistent actions and overall character. Someone who represents and demonstrates dedication, hard work, and excellence in all aspects of their role as a cheerleader. Cheerleading is not merely about pom-poms and high-flying stunts. It's a true art form that requires discipline, teamwork, and a deep understanding of the power of motivation. It is about uplifting spirits, spreading positivity, and instilling a sense of undying support in the hearts of those around us. The cheerleader who is receiving this award tonight is someone who really stood out to us this year. She has demonstrated resilience, pushing through setbacks. Even when we faced trials, she would always show up to every practice and game with a positive attitude and a willingness to work hard. She always gave her best effort at all times. When the pressure was on and we would have to change things up, she was willing to adapt and do what she had to do for the best outcome of the squad. We depended on her a lot this season, and not only was she always there to help us coaches, but she was a huge support to her teammates. She was always the first one to lend a listening ear or a kind word to anyone on the team who was struggling. We saw her achieve things this year that she has been working on for the past 4 years, and we are so proud of her. Her dedication to this season has not gone unnoticed, and we are grateful for all that she has brought to our squad. And we cannot wait to see her continue to not only advance in her technical skills next season, but also watch her continue to grow as a leader. It is my honor to announce that the Everyday Excellence Award goes to Jessica Bertrulis.
Giving out the Top Performer Award. It's been a year. So as I stand here tonight, I'm filled with an overwhelming mix of emotions. I cannot help but be reminded of all the hard work, dedication, and endless spirit that each of you have brought to this team. I remember the first day of practice like it was yesterday. You all set our goals high, aiming to push yourselves beyond your limits, to become the best cheerleading team we could be. Throughout the season, I watched you all grow as athletes, but also as individuals. I witnessed your determination and your teamwork, and it's truly an honor to be your coach. So the Top Performer Award is presented to the athlete who has performed the best for their team this season. This award was the most difficult to give out because we truly have such a talented group of girls. One person in particular stood out to us. She is a huge asset to this team. She excels in everything she does. She is an excellent dancer and choreographer. It amazes us how quickly she can pick up new things and master them. Her jumps are some of the best we've ever seen. But more importantly, her spirit exemplifies what it means to be a cheerleader. She is humble and natural leader who leads more with her actions than her words. Coach Tara and I have depended on her multiple times throughout the season, and we have watched her motivate the rest of the team to work harder. She has shown an immense amount of positivity and perseverance during the trials we have faced. Those who have met her can also agree with me when I say that she has a maturity in handling frustrations, not only individually, but with her teammates as well. She pushes herself to find the gifts that God has given her. I'm so proud and honored to present the Top Performer Award to Kelly Johnson.
Up next, we have varsity swim, but Audrey's unable to be here. But I'm just going to give some quick stats on Audrey and the phenomenal work that the McKinney name continues to carry here at Delaware County Christian School in swimming. Last year as a sophomore, Audrey finished third in the 100-meter breaststroke at districts. This current year, she took second and then finished 11th in states. Audrey, again, is a junior with a long standing history of the McKinney name, especially for swimming here. So I know she's not here today, but at least we'll acknowledge her and her accomplishments. Next up is indoor track, coached by George McFarland.
Let me ask the members of the indoor track team if you please come forward, along with my coaches, L.T. Thompson and Coach Hill. As they come forward, let me just make a few comments. First of all, this was the first year that indoor track was a recognized DC sport. Other years it has been a club for about 25 years, but this year we had a team. We had about 16 members. And typically the pattern would be we practice 4 days, and then the girls are at meets at either Lehigh or Alvernia or Glen Mills on a Friday evening. The guys were at meets on a Saturday at Lehigh or Glen Mills or sometimes other areas. One highlight of the year was we attended a meet at Ocean Breeze, New York. It was the largest indoor meet in the country at that particular time. 5,000 athletes went through the day. And these athletes were a part of that. Just see some tremendous talent and abilities and so forth. And I was just very proud of our team. We competed with the Girls Association, the 5-County Girls Association, and the 5-County Boys Association. So they're not mixed, they're separate. But what the athlete hopes to do in those is to advance to what would be a 5-county girls meet of champs and a 5-county boys meet of champs. They have to reach qualifying time, standards, distance, so forth. And then beyond that, we had 2 young ladies who were extremely close to the meet of champs. Marielle in the 60 meter and also in the 200 meter, and also Gabrielle Watson in the 400, the 800, I think you even tapped the mile there, but just missed it. CJ Simberi reached the meet of champs, competed in the meet of champs, and then went on to the state indoor championships at Penn State, placed 5th there in the triple jump, and then also qualified for nationals and was also recognized as an all-Delco indoor track performer. We'll present the awards and their packets in our later session in track and field, but let me just thank each of you for your participation in that, and also such a big part of indoor was the conditioning that Robert provided for us. We spent about 45 minutes on the track, and then we went in and 45 minutes in the conditioning room. So thank you, athletes. We'll speak more about this as we come to track and field.
At this time, I want to introduce one of our senior athletes, share a testimony here, Ms. Sky Portualia.
Hello, my name is Sky Portualia, and tonight I have the privilege to speak to all of you about a topic that I'm very passionate about, and that is joy. I've been playing sports since I was about 4 years old, and as a young kid, usually you play whatever sport your parents put you in. For me, that was the case, so I ran track, I played soccer, and I also played basketball up until 7th grade. After my 6th grade track season, I realized track was not a sport I wanted to pursue anymore. Then, in spring of 7th grade, I picked up a lacrosse stick for the first time, and I was automatically hooked. I found so much joy in going to practices every day and learning the skills of a new sport. As I got into high school, I wouldn't say that joy necessarily went away, but I would be lying if I said I didn't dread going to practices most days. If you've been to a girls' lacrosse game this year, you would know that joy is the word on the back of our warm-up shirts. That's been our theme on the lacrosse team for the past 2 years. Not only should we find joy in playing sports, but more importantly, we can find joy in knowing Christ, and knowing that He gave us the ability to glorify Him through playing. Now, you might not always find joy in playing a specific sport, but I bet many of you can think about special memories on a team that have brought you joy. So sometimes you may question, why keep going, or why keep playing a sport if it's hard to find joy in it? I don't really have the question for that, or really have the answer for that, but you can think back to all the time you've dedicated to practicing, and the fun memories you've had on a team, and even the rough bus rides home after a tough loss. You can always remember that God has given you these gifts, and through your relationship with Him, you can find joy in knowing Him. While being joyful is definitely easier said than done, it's definitely something I still need to continue to work on. So I want to share something. Last week, I received a text from one of my teammates on the lacrosse team. She texted me and another one of my teammates just thanking us for caring about her and for always rooting for her. Something that really stuck with me was the line that she said, "You guys showed me what it's like to actually have people rooting for you." When I think of this girl, she simply is the definition of joy. Any conversation I have with her, I'm always smiling. While this was a simple act of thanks, and I don't think she realized how much it impacted me, this is a great example of God's love and His joy shining through someone else. The relationships that I have built throughout my time at DC, and on the sports team specifically, are something that I will always cherish and remember. So the next time you're dreading going to a practice, remember, there is always a way to find joy in any situation. Whether it be an interaction with a teammate, a meaningful conversation with your coach, or you're encouraging your team during a drill. We know that joy is a gift from God, and our relationship with Jesus is the greatest joy we could ever know. Let me leave you with this verse of encouragement, Romans 15:13. May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in Him, so that you may overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit. Thank you.
All right, I know we're way ahead of schedule here, but I'm just reminding everybody, our spring session, the coaches, it's going to be brief. They're going to have a lot of time in their team times to really talk about each athlete and give out awards. So I appreciate your patience. But our next sport is going to be baseball, coached by Mr. Jeff Wisniewski.
First, I would like to thank a lot of people behind the scenes. Coach McFarland mentioned Coach Robert, who I know worked with a lot of the athletes in the off-season. Coach Pinelli and Coach Grimes do a lot of things besides put on events like this too, like ordering uniforms and organizing schedules and all that, so I want to thank them. Jake Cadino and Christian Tabor and Rick Elliott put together our turtle batting cage and our fence. So a lot of people behind the scenes, of course, this is what you see, so I want to thank them first. Just really quickly, proud of these guys. Last year was the first year in DC baseball history where we did make districts. Partially because we started 5 freshmen last year, and that's a lot of growing pains. This year, just yesterday, we played a very good team. For the 2 or 3 of you in here who understand baseball or care, the team we played against had a team batting average of .453. That's really good. Ours was lower than that. If you know the Mendoza line, wasn't that higher, too much higher than that. But these guys showed a lot of heart. Their coach complimented our team afterwards. I was very proud of them. It just showed how much they grew over the year. Just one last thing. We have a very small JV schedule this year, since we still have a lot of young players that can kind of play varsity in baseball. Varsity and JV. The first time we played Interborough about a month ago, we really got shut down by this pitcher who's throwing in the probably low 80s, a really good curveball, struck out 15 of our guys. And they came a month later at our place and we beat them about 8-2. Same guy. It was really cool, and it showed the resilience of this team. They never gave up. And looking forward to speaking more about the team in our session. Thank you, guys.
Next up, we have girls lacrosse, coached by Coach Schreiber.
So guys, I know we're up here and we're gonna have a breakout session for the girls later, so I'm gonna keep this very short. I just want to start by saying I'm super proud of each and every one of these girls up here on the stage. They are an inspiration to younger girls like my daughter Ellie and so many other kids around this campus. So we're really proud of you guys. To give you some context as far as the 2020-23 girls, 2 years ago, the girls were ranked 25th in the PIAA in District 1. I think they had 1 win that season 2 years ago. Last year, they worked really hard. They had a 50-50 season, 8-8. This year, they were ranked 9th in the PIAA. So just so you guys know, for lacrosse across the state, it's basically matched into 2 groups, AAA and AA. And these girls are ranked 9th. So super proud of them. They've made a lot of progress, and they just want to continue to grow and get better. So just thankful for the opportunity and the privilege to be able to be their coach, and thankful for the coaches here who do so much behind the scenes and are just such amazing, I think, Christian examples for these girls. So thanks, everyone.
Now we'll move on to softball, led by Coach Mulholland.
just told by one of my seniors if I go over 2 minutes, they're walking off the stage, so I'm going to make this brief. So needless to say, it was kind of a rebuilding year for us, but I think, especially towards the end of the season, it wouldn't seem that way. I think these guys really came together and supported one another through a difficult season, but I'm just so proud of them and proud of them that they were working together, wanting to improve, wanting to continue to grow in their skills. It was just a lot of fun, just practices filled with laughter, seeing them at Chick-fil-A, all sitting together at one table, just really bonding. I told them yesterday after our district loss that this season was really a season where they learned skills that they could take beyond softball. They learned perseverance, they learned how to work together, and I just pray every day that you guys take that to where you're going in the future, seniors, and for us next year that we can continue to grow from where we left off. Yeah, that's it.
Next up is boys tennis, led by Coach Sachs.
The ancient Greeks and Egyptians described a mythical bird called the phoenix. It's a magnificent creature that was a symbol of renewal and rebirth. After 500 years, the phoenix would build a nest and set itself on fire. And then the phoenix would rise from the ashes, risen to new life. This naturally leads me to the DC boys tennis team. After an illustrious history in the 1980s, winning various awards and championships, the team set itself on fire. No, just kidding. It just stopped. And the archaeological records are unclear as to why. No one's sure exactly what happened, but the history is murky. But this is what we know. Sometime in the last 20 years, the DC boys tennis team stopped existing. But here they are. The DC boys tennis team is the mythical phoenix, risen from the ashes of history, soaring to new heights, and achieving new glories. There were a lot of questions, there were a lot of doubts. Can it be done? Will we have the players? Do we have the skills? Well, day one, we had 20 players come out. And this is what happened. In our first year back, we took the league by storm. We were 8-0 in league play, becoming BAL champions. Our regular season record, including a number of larger public and private schools, was 12-2 for the season. We had 4 first-team all-conference players. We reached the district semifinals, lost a competitive match there that could have gone either way. One of our best matches, we beat Shipley out of league. We lost to them last year when we approached this as a club. We lost all of our matches. This year we won, and there were tears shed and rackets thrown, and none of them were Jews. The best part of the season has been you guys. You're just such a pleasure, really. And the same, Coach Potofsky and Coach Levis, we just had so much, just enjoyed it so much. You took tennis seriously, you didn't take yourself seriously. We worked hard, we laughed a lot, and we enjoyed building a team together from the ground up. You grew as tennis players, all of you improved incredibly, and you grew as young men. We just couldn't be prouder of you guys. We have a number of awards on this team that I'm gonna talk about later, so we're gonna get to that. But let me just say this in closing. Every one of our practices, I would try to present to the guys in 60 seconds or less one reason why they should believe in God. And we talked about science, we talked about art, we talked about human nature, we talked about love, we talked about the resurrection. But tonight I'm going to leave you with the last one for the season, myths. Even a myth like the Phoenix points to the one great true myth of a risen Savior. And where you see any analogy, it's because the one great true myth that we all long for, that meets all of our greatest needs, is written on our hearts. And it's written in the minds of artists and poets and storytellers from ancient Egypt through today. So whether it be Phoenix, or Osiris, or the Matrix, or Man of Steel, or Moana, it all somehow reflects the one great true story. So, the Phoenix may not be real, but I'll tell you what's real is the DC boys tennis team. So I give you today the BAL champs, the Phoenix and Delco Christian Athletics boys tennis.
I'll do a quick translation. We didn't have boys tennis, we do now, and they did a really good job. Now, all joking aside, Adam and his coaching staff did a phenomenal job. Adam was the backbone on bringing boys tennis back to Delaware County Christian School, and they've had a phenomenal year, and I'm excited to see the future for that program. Our last team today would be our track and field team, which is still competing. We are heading to states, heading 10 plus athletes. They'll be competing in states this weekend at Shippensburg University.
What many don't know is that the coaches have about 18 events to cover. So we need this many and far, far more to really cover it if we get three per event. Just let me highlight a couple of things. Don't get too close, guys. Just let me highlight a couple of things. Early part of the season, we have dual, triangular, quad meets with BAL schools and other schools in the area. We go to large invitationals. We went to Twin Valley. We went to Unionville. We compete in the Delco Championships. And then try to reach our peak at the BAL meet and also the district meet. And very happy to say that these athletes fulfilled what we set out for them to do. That comes from Colossians 3:23. Whatever you do good heartily is unto the Lord. And we emphasize the point of never give up. Never give up on that race. Never give up on that practice. But rather to compete and do it well. Do it heartily as unto the Lord. And we had, of the 65, we had 40 who were all conference BAL because of their events. The girls were first and the guys were second in that team championship. We had 32 of the 65 qualify for the district meet. That's all by standard to be able to compete. And we had, of those, we had 25 score in the meet. Out of that, we have 12 who have qualified for the state meet based on the criteria from the district meet. They have to finish first or reach the state standard. So let me just close by that. If athletes going to state, as I call your name, if you could just step out and we'll give you a nice applause. Avesi in the disc and shot. Javelin. Josh Curry in the shot put. Luke Bushra in the disc. CJ Simberi. The girls 4x100. Kalani Barnes, Marielle Clayton, Marielle Elizabeth Gabrielle Watson, Marin D'Antonio. Of these, we have one school record holder. Avasi has a new school record in the disc, 122 feet, 11 inches.
Before we head to our breakout sessions, I just want to address the senior class. I wouldn't feel right if I didn't say a proper send-off for you seniors. I'll keep it short. As you guys continue to take life on, my hope, my prayer is that you guys continue to lean on God. Throughout Scripture, we're reminded that God has a plan for us. Let's trust that, believe that. Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. If I could leave you one thing, continue to lean on God, trust His plan, and be in prayer, and just be hopeful and joyful, Sky, that God has a plan and you guys are going to be okay. Thank you.
I'm going to close the prayer today. I just wanted to, before we leave to our breakout groups and go home, I wanted to thank Mike Pinelli for leading us the last few years, first as an assistant athletic director and then as our interim athletic director. He'll be headed to Burlington Christian Academy next year to be the head guy there. We're excited for him and very thankful for his humility and hard work. Let us pray, and we will head to our individual places. Father, I just thank you for this group of athletes, student athletes that you've given us. Young people who are immensely talented, who've learned perseverance, humility, hard work, courage, teamwork. Lord, we pray that you will use these characteristics in their lives, that they may shine your light to a world that's dark and that needs to know of their Savior and their Lord. Help us to be courageous in those endeavors, to lean and to use those gifts that you've given us and those lessons you've taught us in your service. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Coach Corson, for everything you guys did. This team would not be what it is without you. And your investment in the girls, your sacrifices are just really amazing. And it's evident too in our defense, especially with Coach Peters coming on board. Our defense was stellar this year. Massive growth and achievements. And again, I think we are also recognized, and I think it's evident in the VAL recognitions there as well. And what Coach Corson does as far as a lot of the other logistics, even stats, were absolutely essential in these girls being recognized for their hard work this season. So again, thank you to both of you. I also want to thank Jenny Ayotte as the team mom for just helping with some of you contributed as well as far as the halftime sacks, which were just like so welcome at the time of halftime, right? Whether it's the Gatorades or the grapes or whatever it may be, that was the answer. So again, thank you for everything you did. All right, so guys, I have something special for every one of you. It's a lacrosse ball, right? Coach, why does that matter? We've played lacrosse all season. I want you guys just to have this as a token, just a reminder for you to look back on, and hopefully cherish, right? Maybe some of you will throw it against a brick wall to bounce back and practice in the off season to continue to get better. Maybe some of you will bring it to your college dorms, right, and place it up on a shelf and have hopefully good memories, but also say, you know what, I should be playing in college as well. But anyway, I just want to go through that with each and every one of you. It's in no particular order, but I think it's important just to recognize everyone who contributed. Like I said in my email last night, guys, the awards that we'll go through and talk about, I'm actually personally not a huge fan of individual awards for a team sport. If this was golf or tennis or even track, right? Those are individual sports. This is a team sport. So with that, you need every single one of you to challenge each other, right? To continue to push each other, to encourage each other. Like Sky said, the text message from a friend, a teammate on the team that have encouragement, right? That's important. We can't achieve the results that we want to achieve without each other, right? And so I just want to recognize that too. Again, I would love to have more team awards, right? And that's why, again, ninth doesn't sound like first place, right? It's an odd thing to celebrate, ninth place, but it's a team major milestone that you guys worked hard at and you earned a lot of respect for too, right? So great job. So with that, I'm just gonna call you up one at a time, or maybe if it's easier for time, I'll toss the ball, as I say. Is that good? All right. All right, so first off, we have Sonia, okay? I just want to say for Sonia, it's been a joy to have you on the team this year. You're constantly listening, constantly looking to learn, right? And I was so excited when you decided to play lacrosse this season, okay? And so we really look forward to having you back next year and just keep working hard. One of my favorite parts for Sonia was we were playing a game against Upper Moreland, right? Big, massive school, right? And listen, I'm a big fan of strategy, and so for the girls for this game, I said, guys, we're not gonna go to win. We have Jenkintown the next day. I actually want to reserve something, right, in the tanks, that way we can go and give Jenkintown a rest. Because we learned the week before playing Jenkintown, we had a big game, we put it all on the field, and we were wiped when we played Jenkintown the next day. So I said, guys, you'll never hear me say this again, but we're going to Upper Moreland, and everyone's playing, right? We're just going to get everybody in, and we're going to rest. That's a weird thing to say as a coach, I get it. Maybe it was the right call, maybe not. But at the end of the day, I had Sonia out there, and she's out there, and it's like, all right, goal is scored. Sonia, take the draw. What? Right? She's like, Coach, what? You know? And I was like, yes, you can do it, right? And I just appreciate her willingness to just jump in and say, fine, I'll do it. This is uncomfortable, but thank you. I'm feeling like there's some chatter here in the front row, so I won't be this long-winded for everybody. But I just want to say great job in stepping up. All right, next up, Ella Urias. So just something to note real quick, on the front of the ball it says Joy, right? DC 2023. And on the back has every player's name, okay? Ella, I remember last year we were like, I wonder if I should play lacrosse or not. You were great at the play last year, right? An incredible play, and you had a lot on your plate. And there was a game that we had wrapped up last year in 2022, and Ella brought cookies for the team. Ella brought cookies for the team, and she was like, Coach, can you play? That's incredible. That's amazing. Ella is just a great athlete. She's on the girls' soccer team, and was really thrilled to have her on the team this year. So Ella, thanks for coming out. Thanks for putting your heart into it and working hard, guys. All right. This next one goes to Leah Darnell. when you're coaching and there's a lot of new faces, you have to learn names pretty quick, right? And we have friends with the name Leah, and we have friends with the name Leia. And so Mrs. Schreiber was very helpful to make sure I got names right? And so that was a huge success pretty early on to make sure. What? Eventually, it took some time. But Leah was such a hard worker this year. She was one of our first substitutes to come off the bench for defense. And that was a big deal, right? She listened, worked really well. Coach Peters was very helpful to make sure we knew what the positions, right, and everything. But Leah, I was super proud with coming out for this year. And I think you have a lot of potential, and you should stick with it and keep working hard, okay? So great job this year, okay? All right. Next one I have here is Nevaeh. There you are. So Nevaeh, I know you're new to DC this year, right? And so being new to a place, a community, can be very hard, right? But Nevaeh had the courage to come out for the girls lacrosse team and was extremely proud that you did so, right? Courage is one of those things we as adults know that we need to have, especially in today's society and the way society will continue to be over time, right? So having courage is key, right? And having the ability to persevere and go out and try something new is very important, especially in a new community. You never know where God will call you, right? You may move to Hawaii one day, a totally new place in the world, right? Or you may stay in Pennsylvania. But at the end of the day, having the courage to go find community is very important, right? So great job. I was really glad you're on the team. Thanks for what you do, okay? All right. And this is no particular order. Kylie. Talk about courage. Talk about courage. Let me tell you about Kylie, right? I remember this fall, some of the girls were talking, I hear some girls want to get on the team, and they're like, Kylie, you gotta get Kylie. Kylie's gonna play. Kylie is awesome, right? Kylie came out and was gonna play in the field for a little bit, and then she had her eyes on goalie. We're gonna talk about Ashanti in a little bit. Goalie, that is a hard position. Kylie stepped up. Not only she stepped up, but she worked hard. When we got you in there and really just kind of practicing right away, just the instinct, the goalie, I would say killer instinct, right? Kylie was in there, she's just teach me, coach. Let's learn and let's grow, right? And Kylie was getting in on some games as well. I remember the first game she got in on, there was an 8-meter next to the one you line up at, and she said, Coach, I was sitting there shaking. And you did a great job, right? You had some great saves this year. You worked hard. You were ready to step in and step up, right? You were a peer, a friend to Ashanti, which is very important. Goalies, you need that, right? You need that extra person kind of with you on the sideline, with you in practice, helping out, okay? And I tell you, that last practice, guys, was it last week? We practiced last week? And I stepped in goal, right? That was terrifying. You guys, I had a lot of pie in the face after that practice, right? I'm still smelling the whipped cream in my nose. Because some of you got it pretty far, and I was like, oh man, that's like going to the brain, right? So, Kylie, great job. He's really proud of you. And track has too many players, so I know you talk about track for next year. Let's just come back to lacrosse. There's too many people on track. Ready? All right, next up, Alexa Cardone. One of my favorite stories with Alexa was earlier this year we had just an interest meeting in February, right? And we were out by the quad out here, and we were just kind of one of those weird February days of sunny 70 degrees weather. It was like, are we in Florida right now? Like, this is February, this is glorious. And we're around there, and Alexa comes walking out and joins the girls, right, as far as the interest meeting. And I said, hey, welcome to the family. Are you playing lacrosse? And she said, nope, I'm not. I gotta go. And I was like, oh, but you're already part of the family, just stay, right? And Alexa left, right? And then I get a message from Coach Portion. hey, I think Alexa might be interested in playing lacrosse. No way, right? It was absolutely incredible. It was extremely excited, and your athleticism and your work ethic are admired, right? Alexa would be one of the last people to leave the fields at practice. Just wanted to get better and better and better, and it paid off, right? It paid off. So super proud of you. Look forward to next year. You're a natural, and thank you for all your support. All right, this one is a special one, okay? This is Jessica Petrulis. Let me tell you why. Jessica is a lefty, right? I write left-handed, right? I love playing lacrosse, did left hand and right hand, but still favor my left to this day, right? Warming up Ashanti or practicing and throwing the ball around. Jessica, you are a natural lacrosse player, and I was so excited when you came out this year. Being a lefty is so important too. You're going to be able to instinctively throw off people right away, right? When you got in this year, you hustled. You worked hard to get in, right? And keep it up, keep practicing, keep pushing your peers, your friends, and start recruiting more and more girls to play. You're a good leader, okay? Thank you. And I'm going to jump to Sydney Petrulis, okay? You're like, I'm not sure I'm going to play, maybe, maybe not, and you did, right? And again, the courage to do that, right, is very special. And I hope you felt comfortable too, right, joining as a junior, which can be a hard thing to do as far as joining a team in your junior year, but you did it, right? You always have a smile on your face, right? You're always ready to just, I think, be an encouragement, right? And always ready to listen, and that's a very important skill to have, right? So thank you for being out here. Thank you for working hard, right? I hope you do come out next year as well. We really would love to have you, okay? Great season. All right. Let me go this one here. Becca. Becca is amazing, okay? Becca got out on defense several times for us this year. She's also one of these folks who played soccer and was like, I'll play lacrosse this year, right? And that was absolutely incredible. Becca has what I call like a can-do attitude, right? She's just like, yeah, okay, I can do that. And I think we put her in every single position this year except for goalie, right? She's like, I can do that, right? But Becca, we really appreciate just your heart, right? And just your energy and the way you just approach practice, right? Whether it's learning to catch and throw, right? Getting better, learning the sport of lacrosse. I just really appreciated your enthusiasm and willingness to just come out and work hard. Becca's also an incredible artist too, right? And so she absolutely loved just seeing, again, downstairs, those cows with the amazing colors and just your talent. So great season this year, and I hope to see you next year. Missing Kat Wolf, but just want to recognize her. Kat came out and what? Kat was great too. Kat came up. One of the things I really appreciate about Kat was early in the season she came up to me and said, "Coach, what can I do to get better? What can I do to get better?" Right? And so just her enthusiasm to learn the sport, her enthusiasm to contribute. She really, really wanted to contribute, right? She always hustled. She is very fast. And it was great to get her out there on the field when we could. So I was really proud when Kat came out this year. I hope she comes out again next year. I know it's hard. Some of you guys are involved in many other things, many other sports. And sometimes what can happen is these travel soccer leagues and other things can kind of, as a lacrosse coach, get in the way. Right? But I understand it. And so whatever you guys do, I hope whatever it is, you just put your hearts and minds and soul into it and work for God's glory. So great season to Kat. And I know she's not here, but just want to say a few words about her. Isa. absolutely love Issa. Now, Issa though will show up to practice in like Crocs, right? And it's like, we're about to run, and she's like, yeah, I only have Crocs on, coach. And it's like, okay, we'll do the best we can with that, right? But I tell you what, when we were at Sacred Heart this season, right? Issa was on the field. She had this stirring, right? She had this hunger. And let me tell you something, when Issa scored that goal, right? It almost cleared the benches, right? I think the other team was just like, yeah! So Issa, great job. I really enjoy, I'll even say like your quirkiness too, like bringing the blankets to the sidelines, right? But just you always are laughing, you're always smiling, and it really is just a joy to have you. So great job. Sadie Surface. Yes, I'm pretty sure Sadie runs with a smile on her face, right? Sadie will book it and just work hard and just keep persevering and just wants to plug away, and she just loves being on this team, right? And it's that type of attitude that's contagious, right? Those are things you want people to catch, right? And so Sadie's just willingness to just say, you know what, I've got a lot on my plate, but I can't wait to be at lacrosse practice. Coach, I may have to leave for dance or some other things. Got it, right? But just Sadie's presence on the team is just great, right? And so we're glad you decided to invest time on the team. You're a very important team member. And so we're just really glad for all the work you put into it. And we do hope to see you next year, right? For the season, okay? So great job. All right, next up, Ava White. Ava White is a very special person, right? She's also new to DC this year, right? And new to lacrosse too, right? She decided to play lacrosse this year. She was on the field hockey team this fall, received some honors on the field hockey team, and was like, I'm ready to learn lacrosse. Put me in, coach. Let's learn. And Ava worked hard. She also became a starter on our defense and was a critical member of our defense. Our defense was phenomenal this year, right? You had some tremendous plays this year. You did a great job. And I knew it was going to be a great year in our very first game against Friends Central, right? We showed up. And right away, right, we're working our rides this year. And the girls just, I mean, they were a complete 180 on our rides and clears this year. Just a great job. Well, one of the things I really appreciated about Ava was that very first game, her just athletic instinct was, ball is coming down, she's on the defensive side, and she's like, I'm not going to wait for the other team to try to catch it. I'm just going to step up, step into it, catch it, and make the play happen. And it was just like, that's incredible, right? So Ava, loved having on the team. It was great to have the Ava combo together this year. You guys were a force to reckon with, but great season this year, and look forward to next year as well. All right, here's our special one, Lily Peters. Lily Peters is driven. She is driven. And she's also a leader too. She's ready to recruit girls for next year. She's already talking to folks as far as 8th graders. And no, don't play softball, play lacrosse, right? She's already recruiting. I love your investment in the sport, your investment in your teammates, right? Great job. All right, Avery Franks. Avery is also new to DC this year, transferred in, right, and was just gung-ho about lacrosse from the very beginning. He came up to me this fall and was like, Coach, are you the lacrosse coach? I play lacrosse. I can't wait to play lacrosse this year. And I was like, that's amazing. I can't wait as well. But Avery was smart too, right? Avery persevered. She had an ankle injury coming into the season, and she needed to take care of that, right? And it was the smart, wise thing to do versus some people would just try to say, let me just push it, and you know what, whatever happens, happens, I'll just try to toughen it up, right? She was very wise though. She took care of her ankle, and she was a major contributor as a starter as well on our attack. And so if you weren't wise early in the season, and if you re-injured it and got hurt, we would be down another player, and we would not have as much of a great season as we had without you. So great job this year. Keep up the hustle, right? Keep your head up, and you're going to do great things, okay? Great job. All right, Addie Smith. Great job this year, okay?
Yeah, that's it.
We'll talk more later, but Addie is just a quiet leader on the team. She really is quiet. Right? And I'm super proud of you. You work hard, you push others, you help others become better as well. Ashanti Harris. You guys probably hear me on the sidelines yelling, Ashanti! You know, like,
Come on!
stick up, come on, right? You know, Ashanti has so much potential, right? What? You're not done yet. You got one more year. But Ashanti is just a natural athlete. You're extremely talented, right? And I want you to keep putting energy and effort into everything you do. I heard some amazing things on basketball earlier. Getting 1,000 points hopefully next year soon, before Christmas, right? But you're a leader, right? People follow, right? So work hard, put the effort into everything you do, and I'm super thankful for what you do. Goalie is a very, very hard job, guys. There are some shots that Ashanti takes, and I'm like, ow, that, I feel the pain, you know, because she gets hit. And it's just like, ow. And I'm like, Ashanti, that's why you gotta wear the gear. You gotta wear all the gear. And she's like, I'm good right now, coach. And I'm like, ow, you know. But great job. We couldn't do this without you, okay? Ashanti also surpassed 200 career saves. Lily Elliott. Lily Elliott. Lily is also one of these quiet ones on the field, right? But Lily will work hard. She's a critical member of our attack, right? Lily will score these goals, right, and just get open and be an option, right? She has a great stick up in the air as far as just a great target for a pass, and is just always working hard, right? So I really appreciate you, all that you do. Next year is a big deal. Keep working hard. We're going to need your leadership for next season. Great job. Chloe. Chloe is probably, if not the fastest lacrosse player in the entire BAL. Right? In the entire BAL. Right? Chloe, you're just a phenomenal athlete. You're almost too kind, right? You're so nice. When Chloe will sometimes make a foul or something on the field, the ref calls, she's like, I'm so sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And it's like, it's okay. But Chloe is just such a great athlete. You have such an amazing heart. Your heart is huge, right? And you do such a great job. You scare me on the field too, because sometimes when your hands are kind of like losing grip and everything, it terrifies me. And so you'll see me sub Chloe out a lot because I'm like, are you okay? She's like, good. Right? But she's like, sometimes coach can't feel my fingers. I'm like, all right, fill off and take care of it. Right? But Chloe is such a tremendous athlete. Right? And I just absolutely love how she leads her peers too. Right? And how you're like the glue that keeps everything stuck together. It's a great job this year in midfield, and look forward to just even more success. All right, Sydney Stevens. Now, Sydney, guys, last year she was injured halfway through the season. right? And our hearts were broken. Sydney is just such a strong contributor on the field, a very strong leader on the field, especially for defense. And so having you just helped other people like Ava and Lily kind of just gel with the team, right? And supporting Ava was just key. Sydney also had several moments in several games this year where she was just like, I'm going to get the ball and I'm just going to take it down the field. Like we were struggling through some games. And Sydney just said, you know what? I'm going to put the entire team on my shoulders and just get the ball and carry it down. And sometimes you score goals off of that. Other times, you got the team to score, you got the assist, or you just got us having a crucial possession, right? So great job. Your work ethic and hustle, right, is just tremendous, and just keep it up. We can't wait for next year. All right, Maggie.
Hey, Max.
Maggie, you were a big reason why, as far as convincing me or Mr. Schreiber to coach. Maggie was persistent and be like, will you guys coach? Will you guys coach? And she just kept asking and kept asking. We need somebody to do something, right? Maggie loves the sport of lacrosse, right? And so I was really proud of you in how you grew last year and how you grew this year. Being a junior captain is very hard, right? It's kind of a bit awkward at times too, right? Because you're like, wait, I'm a junior captain, there's senior captains, okay. But you worked hard, right? And you tried to just help others out as best you could, right? And being down at the attack as well, right? Working with Sarah, you guys are trying your best to just generate some activity for our offense. So you worked hard, and we appreciate it. We're going to need some more hard work next year, and look for next season. We just always appreciate you wanting lacrosse to thrive here at DC. It's a great job. Ava Scoffs. Ava is just one of these people who is just willing to step up and do what it takes to get the job done. Last year she came to me and said, being the season coach, I'm excited about the season across. But whatever you do, don't put me in defense. I really don't like defense. And I'm just watching her play, I'm learning, right? And I'm seeing her talent and skills. I'm like, she's so good at defense. And she really is. And Ava was such a huge encouragement this year to the team because something clicked. And she said, guys, I get it now as far as our defense. We talked about what USA Lacrosse talks about as far as the ABCDs of defense. Just great fundamentals, great quality. And Ava got it, right? And she's like testifying to the team as far as like, guys, this really works, right? It really, really works. And she gave us some incredible, I would say, encouraging and motivating speeches at halftime. Just make sure we all were just doing our best, right? And so, Ava, I just absolutely love to have you on the team. I loved also a few years ago, several years ago, a funny little story where the bus and the snowstorm and a tree knocking over power lines and stranding the bus. And you must have been in middle school, right? Bear was probably kindergarten, first grade, right? And I come running on there and just trying to like, is everybody okay? You know, climbing over power lines. Not the smartest idea, but it was what it was. And I just love that was part of a story of just getting to know you, but just discovering that last year. And that was really fun. So I'm really proud of all that you accomplished here at DC. You're an incredible leader, and I'm really excited about your future next year. Okay? Good job. Is just a phenomenal leader, right? This is probably where I get choked up a little bit, but Sky is just one of these people that, even as a coach, can just make you laugh, right? You come in sometimes, you have some practice, you have a game plan, an agenda. You guys saw all my agendas written out by the minute at times. But Sky just makes the season just special. And she cares about every single person out there. She really does. I'm super proud of you. I want you to keep working hard, and when you're at Liberty next year, I want you at least to introduce yourself to the coach. Just go up and say, hey, I'm sorry, I have to do this. I know it's really weird, but my high school coach told me I just had to say hello and introduce myself. Right? You're a very talented athlete, and I just can't wait to see how the Lord's going to use you. Okay? Good job. Choked up yet, like I have even after some practices, right? You're very special to us, right? You also work so hard, and you have this intensity about you, where you just want to compete. Is that tough? Yeah. He wants to compete, right? But Sarah, you're just such a natural leader, right? And you have just many talents. And the way you would also just come and just make sure that we were getting everybody engaged on the field during just key moments of the season was just very important, right? And so I am super proud of you. I want to reach out to the coach where you're going, but I'm not. I'm not. I promise. But I think you're just very talented. If you ever get that kind of like, you know what? It's a good play, right? What's the worst that happens, right? Sometimes playing a sport in school helps with stress. You are very ambitious, right? You're going to probably have a lot on your plate next year as a freshman. But if you ever start to feel like tense, a little stressed, maybe I should just kind of just talk to the coach. Right? In all seriousness, though, I'm really proud of you and your leadership. You had a great season. The last ball to give out is Ellie. And that's just amazing. Your legacy that you're building here and how you're inspiring the future, right? I'm just very excited for you guys to come back down the road and to see, you know, I was part of this, right? And you guys were on the forefront of just driving some really positive change, right? And so one of the goals we had as far as recapping for the season this year was for the seniors to come back next year and to cheer us on in a game, right? Because that means a lot. Because your guys is just being part of the team, part of the program, and being part of turning things around was just really incredible. All right, so now we have to jump into some team awards. Since I went through everybody, I'll be very brief as far as team awards for everybody, but I do want to go through them right now. All right, first up, we have our top offensive performer. Okay? Guys, these are hard to give out, right? Because there's a lot of great people that are contributing and competing. And so, one thing that's important is just recognizing when somebody has a great season, just recognizing it, okay? And so this year's top offensive performer goes to Addie Smith. Yeah. Of top performers, we also have a top defense performer. Okay, and this year's recipient goes to Sydney Stevens. On the defense, Sydney had the most ground balls for the team and for the defensive side, and the most caused turnovers. That's a key stat, and again, without Coach Corso, we wouldn't have those to be able to understand how we're doing, how we're performing, and how we can recognize everybody for their efforts. All right, Everyday Excellence Award. There's several people who I really want to give this to, and so, but at the end of the day, I'm also not a fan of everybody gets a trophy, right? And that's kind of a little bit awkward. Kind of like, well, everybody gets a trophy. Well, what does a trophy mean? So everyday excellence, guys, is a big deal. And again, just showing up a diligence, the work ethic, the perseverance, the drive, the whole 9 yards, right? And so thinking through that, talking with the coaches, praying about it, really one person edged out a very tight race, I would say, for this award. And this year's recipient is Sarah Stark. All right, and then the last team award, second to last team award, goes to an individual who never played lacrosse before, stepped up, joined the team, worked hard, was a major contributor, and was super proud of it. Okay? And so without making you guys guess, all right, I'm sure there's several, I know there's several of us that we could name several different people for this award. This year's recipient goes to Abel Dunn. This final award for the team award is, what's that? This is a special one. I definitely will get choked up, so I'm going to be extremely brief for this one. You guys, growing up in Maryland and playing lacrosse, ground balls were taught from an early age, ground balls win games. And it's so true. When that ball hits the ground for the sport of lacrosse, the first team to be able to scoop it up has a chance to gain possession and control the ball. And what I love to share with you guys is what? Right? The best defense is possession on offense. Right? And so ground balls are just one of those critical things to help us be able to win games. Right? And so this year's recipient had the most ground balls for the entire team. But it's not just that makes it special. This award is actually named after a friend who passed away 2 years ago. It's already choked up. We'll talk later as far as why. But Jason Ellis, he loved the game of lacrosse. His kids play the game of lacrosse. And a couple years ago in winter, we decided to hold a lacrosse clinic in the dead of winter. And he showed up and he had his kids there. He just loved cheering for his kids. He was an incredible guy. And so I approached his wife about naming this award after him. Because again, it's such a significant part of the sport of lacrosse. So this is called the Jason Ellis Ground Ball Leadership Award. And once I gather myself, this year's recipient had a season high of 91 ground balls. Absolutely incredible. Their career right now is nearly 200 ground balls, right? And they led the league in ground balls as well. And so congrats to Addie Smith. Thanks for bearing with me, guys. This is just such an important time together. I'm glad to be here for this stuff. All right, next up are our, I'll say it just for you, ball awards. Last year, guys, I didn't know what the BAO was, and I said, the ball league, right? They're like, what? What is it? So I learned it's the BAO. And this year, guys, last year we had 10 overall awards. We received the most awards out of any team in the BAO. And it was quite a milestone, quite an achievement. And I viewed it as a team achievement. Tuck is just ready to go. I'll wrap it up soon. But for this year, the voting for the BAO Awards was, I would say, a lot more competitive, right? And but the girls, a lot of girls got awards. We had just some great recognition overall, and really proud of our representation. I'll admit though, I think there are several names that are missing from the BAO as far as awards. I think should be there. And I think there are several people who should have received higher recognition as well. I'm just saying that as your coach, right? And so I want you guys to know that. But at the end of the day, the voting happens and it's out of my control. But don't ever determine your value based on the award. My very first intro email this year was determine your value because of you are a daughter in Christ, right? Who cares what the awards? Those will fade. Like man's praise will fade over time. find your inherent value through your Savior, Jesus Christ, right? So with that, I just want to walk through this year's all BAL awards. And I'm going to start off first with senior Sky Portier. It's your first team, but it is what it is, right? So just your first team in our okay? Second up, Ashanti Harris. It was tough when you're, guys, we were second place, a solid second place in the BAL. And you should be second team at least, right? But it is what it is, and sometimes just, sometimes coaches go more with their hearts than with like the actual stats. All right. Next up, we have, as far as second team all BAL for defense, Billy Peters. Next up, as far as second team for BAL, Maggie Ayat for attack. All right. Next up, as far as first team all BAL, Addie Smith. Next up, this is one of these fun ones. This is for a position called flex, right? Flex. It's kind of like a, what is that? I never saw anyone sub in for a flex. Where do you play the field for flex? Flex is one of these things that the BAL decided would be a helpful position to be able to vote on. Last year, I didn't submit anybody for this because I was like, what is flex? This is not a position. And I felt like our girls missed out on being recognized. So this year, I was like, I learned from my mistake and made sure we submitted a very deserving and worthy person for this role. And we describe this person as our super sub. Is that right? Super sub. We put this person everywhere on the field. Anywhere, right? And they stepped up and was proud to do that, and they were recognized. They were recognized for their efforts this year. First team, all BAL, Alexa Cardozo. All right, next up, first team, this is for defense, Sydney Stevens. Ava, I thought you should be first team as well. You were first team last year, and I'm just going to say it out loud, you deserve it again this year. Next up, for first team this year, all BAL, head attack, Sarah Stone. Guys, the way it works as far as the BAL is after we go through the votings, I can't vote on any of my players for any of the all-conference teams. I can only nominate and then I can vote for other team players, right? So once we do that, the first team is announced, and after the first team's announced, we can nominate and put forth who we feel are deserving people for the following Player of the Year award. So this is Player of the Year for the entire league. This is Offensive Player of the Year, and this is Defensive Player of the Year. We were ranked second this year. We were not the #1 team in the BAL. Jenkintown. But I have in front of me two awards left of the 3 that I just mentioned. That is a major recognition for the team, right? So the individuals, I'll say their names, but again, guys, what's so important, I'll just keep reminding you of this. Maybe I have PTSD from my own kind of college athletics experience or high school athletics experience, but I really am serious about individual awards and team sports. It's kind of awkward. And so anytime any one of us got an award here, it's a team effort, right? So I'll first start out by saying this year's Defensive Player of the Year for the BAL is Sydney Stevens. to Mrs. Schreiber the other day, I just hope I get nominated for an award, right? I think that's what she said, or something along those lines. I hope I get just some sort of recognition. Congratulations, great job. Guys, that is a team recognition award. Not looking to take away from you, but that's just a great job. And Coach Peters, thanks for all that you did to invest in the team, especially the defense. All right, guys, the last award in front of me is Player of the Year. This person led the league in goals, in ground balls, I would say in hustle, right? In drive, in draw controls. What else am I missing? Right? Just a phenomenal year this year. This person also came to me and said, Coach, you know what? I really want to have a good year. I want to work hard this year. And I was like, all right, well, the coaches, the team is behind you. And we're excited about this year. So, Patty, great job. Congrats on your we have these pictures for the seniors. And if the coaches can come up with me, seniors, just want to recognize you guys and your careers. Sarah Stahl, with the inclusion of the Gwen and Mercy Academy game, she surpassed. I only have stats, and I feel bad for seniors because their freshman year, lacrosse was canceled. Right? And then their sophomore years, we really don't have much as far as history or stats or anything like that. So, but Sarah, in the past 2 seasons, has accumulated a total of 101 career points. Right? And so that's a tremendous milestone points. Right? And you were our leader this year in assists. And assists are just one of those things that are just a must-have in the sport of lacrosse. And so, Sarah, great job this year. Come on up. Sky.
Three of you and Sarah. Yeah. Sorry. You don't have to. Just put it behind Coach Person.
Uh-huh.
All right. Next up, we have Ava Skopsma. Right. Ava's leadership on ground balls as well was just tremendous this year. And I'd say when Ava would work on clearing that ball, she was on a mission. Right? She would just be locked in, and she's like, "Who's ready to get the ball?" And she would just candidly just say, guys, when I'm coming out the field, you've got to make eye contact and be ready to get the ball. Right? So, great job this year. Really proud of you. And then, Sky, come on up. Oftentimes, ladies in the sport of lacrosse are called the iron men of the game. They very rarely leave the field. They work both sides of the field. And as you guys have watched our games, Sky is a true iron. I would say guys, we're gathering. But Sky is just one of those people that has grit and toughness and never gives up. And that's what serves well. So that's it for awards, guys. Okay. Captains have something. As they're, I guess, gathering everything, just a quick plug, TV commercial. FCA Lacrosse has their summer national camp this summer. I sent that as far as a link. This is some of the best lacrosse there is in the country. FCA teams compete on a national level. And I really encourage you guys to attend. Chloe, would you mind just saying real quick, I know I didn't ask you to do this, but before would you mind just stand up? And Chloe attended last year's FCA lacrosse camp. And would you mind just saying like a sentence of, was it good or not?
Oh yeah, it was really good. I think you guys should go because I don't want to go alone too.
So support Chloe and go to FCA lacrosse camp. So, hey guys, thanks, Chloe. You guys good now?
Yeah, we're good. Thank you for the coaches, also Coach Corson, from all of us, T-Ball, who are the backbone of this team, reporting all our stats and everything, also just giving a lot of individual encouragement. I think that kind of carries us through the season and with all the ballers and Twizzlers and then the practice, across the team.
For everything you've done for us this year. It's been awesome having you on defense, and you gave so many just like really helpful tips. We learned new types of defense, and it's just like we really took a lot of steps in like the defensive side of the program because of you. And I thank you so much for your commitment, even like going through what your family has gone through this spring. I can only imagine what that's like, and yet your dedication to us was still like amazing, and that really just shows your heart for us as a team and the program, so thank you so much. Not there before, but you've been amazing. Your work, and you come after a long day, and you still are joyful. And I'm just very appreciative of you.
Sky threw a curveball to me after our district game against Gwinnett Mercy Academy, and they pulled a quick stunt. And after the game, they were like, "Coaches, thank you so much." And Sky gave me a hug, and Sydney's there recording. And I was like, "I see you guys, you know," but it's really an honor and privilege to coach you guys, right? And so, if this is not, I didn't train around you guys, okay? You guys believe in yourselves, believe in each other, and so I'm just thankful to be able to be a part of this. All right, guys. We promise he's not
It's not too difficult.
Girls, after the video, there's bags over here with just treats to just acknowledge you and you guys as a team. Take them before you go.
Hey guys, does anybody know what this TV is called? Oh, it's here. We got it. Okay, that's my hearing.
Next slide, next slide.
The near future.